Good morning. It is Friday, March 17th. So if today's your birthday, born day, however you want to say it, happy birthday to you. And I pray that your day is a great day. Not just a day that you just hear, but, but a day that you're doing something productive, something that you can do for yourself. All right, man, this light is super bright. I don't like this light being this bright. But anyway, we're gonna keep it this bright. I can't change. Well, I can change it, but I'm not gonna change it because it's already too late. Whatever. All right. So good morning to you. It's Mr. R2 here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. It is the end of the week. For those who had a very interesting week, I'm sure that you're probably happy that it's closing out. Um, yeah, today is Friday. Like, how was your week? Like, you can drop an emoji about telling how your week was, or you can actually put it in the chat about how your week was. So I'm very interested in learning about that as a whole. But again, good morning to you. All right. Like always, we start in the spirit of gratitude and say thank you. And I say I appreciate you. And I'm elated that you're actually here in the morning because there was a really crazy weather that happened yesterday. But I'm trying to figure out like what season is it? Like, I don't know. Like for real. Can somebody tell me what's the season? Is it spring? Is it winter? Or is it a new season that just morphed together? Because normally, it's Texas. It may get warm. We've seen like 80 degrees a couple of times in the past 2.5 weeks, and now it's feeling like it's fall all over again. But anyway, like always, we're gonna go ahead and show our digital appreciation for those who have been listening to us on the platform this week. So let me go ahead and zoom in on this. All right, there we go. All right, so as you can see, it stands to reason. U.S. is the largest geographic body group of locations that listen to consistency as currency. India, we say thank you. Wow, they got different countries in India that was listening. Oh wow, that's pretty dope. I've never clicked on like where at in India, um, where the listening has been. Um, Probably need to go back, just so I go back just to the things. Uh, you know, okay, all right. India. So we said we appreciate you, India, Nigeria, Canada, Germany, Italy, South Africa, Puerto Rico, Kenya. Thank you. United Kingdom. So South Korea. I was about to say Seoul. South Korea, Indonesia, Singapore, France. Thank you. Netherlands, Pakistan, Australia, Russia. Thank you. United Arab Emirates. Thank you. Uganda. Thank you. Algeria, Saudi Arabia, Nepal, Burundi. Thank you. Ghana. Thank you. Morocco, Mexico, New Zealand, Ireland. We say thank you for listening. Turkey. Thank you. Slovenia, Namibia, DR, Dominican Republic. Thank you. Austria. Thank you. U.S. Virgin Islands, Thailand, Ethiopia, Malaysia. Thank you. Belgium, Philippines, Latvia. Thank you. Denmark, Belize, Uzbekistan. Thank you. Georgia, Hong Kong. Thank you. Zambia. Thank you. Benin. Uh, thank you as well. Now we go into the podcast distribution. Apple Podcast is the highest, gives us the most traction as far as the distribution platforms. Podcast, thank you. Web browser, Spotify, Anchor, and other. So let's go into the genders. This week we had more male listeners than we had a female listener. So brothers, I appreciate you for listening. Brothers coming in at 77.8% in age groups. Like it's a young group this week. 18 to 22, the largest group of listeners that we have for this week. 18 to 22 coming in at 44% of the listening demographic. So, young folk, I appreciate you for listening and being a part of this platform as well. So, we're going to go ahead and switch out so we can get ready to tap into the power to complete. The power to complete. Let me go ahead and pull this screen up for you. Let me turn that on. Get into it. All right, power to complete. I don't see my chat, but it's gonna be okay. If you can see me, go ahead and put something in the chat just so I can see like what's for real, what's really going on now. Right now. I just got some stuff we talk about power to complete. I'm not worried about my chat. I ain't worried about that. Just want to listen. Yeah. So this one's gonna hit different. Uh, Sometimes completing can be hard. But also a lot of times completing we make it hard. And if that resonates with you, then it's just going to resonate with you. If it doesn't resonate with you, then cool. We're all human. We not all uh we don't all complete the same thing or complete the same way. I think a lot of times we get so caught up in competing that we don't complete things as well. I'm gonna say that again. Sometimes we get caught up in competing that we don't complete things. Because the only difference between the word compete and the word complete is the L in the middle. I think we caught enough L's already. When you finish catching them L's, then you're gonna sit down and understand, like, I need to stop competing with my own fears or competing against um, my own inconsistencies, and look at those incomplete things and figure out, like, why are they incomplete, and stop catching these L's, and let's start completing these thoughts, these tasks at hand, the desires that we have. Then we'll really start completing those things overall and stop catching these L's uh, in what we're doing. So, as you know, you're going to get definition of words, you're going to get the inversions of definitions, and then we're going to close it out in the deep dive. And in these definitions, the inversion is either going to be red over white or white over red. Of course, like you already know, if I say white over red, that means pay attention to the words that are in white. And the same in the opposite. If I say red over white, pay attention to those words that are in red. All right, so the first definition of complete is having all the necessary or appropriate parts. And the inversion that I want you to pay attention to is white over red, which is having the necessary or appropriate parts. Like, Mr. R2, like, why did you put all of that in white? Like, having the necessary or appropriate parts. Like, what does that actually honestly mean? That means sometimes you got to sit down and collect your thoughts. Collect your thoughts, and sometimes you have to put your thoughts on paper to ensure that you are thinking correctly, and other appropriate parts that you need to complete things is probably seeing where you are determined. Determination is now put into the pot. So let's make this pot a gumbo of completion. So this is a pot to complete. So we need to add in a sprinkle of of truth, add in a sprinkle of honesty, add in uh 2 cups of determination, add in a pinch of wisdom. Some of y'all probably say add in 3 cups of faith, like whatever it is that you put in your pot. Um, Go ahead and throw in, you know, uh, a sprinkle of tenacity. You might want to pour in a little bit of energy inside of it. So you're having all of the necessary and appropriate parts. Add in 3 or 4 sprinkles of resiliency, because it's not always going to work the way you had set out for it to work. But when you have that level of resiliency, you know that just because it didn't work today doesn't necessarily mean it cannot be completed tomorrow. Like, are you putting all the appropriate parts inside of this pot in order for you to understand, like, once it's complete, it's gonna have the taste that it's supposed to have because you had all the appropriate parts? Like, have you put all the appropriate ingredients in your pot of completion? If not, it's okay for you to go out and find out what it is that need to be added. Maybe you needed to add a little bit more salt, or maybe you don't have to add salt. Maybe put a little bit of pepper in it, whatever it is. Like, but you have to have the necessary and appropriate parts to make it happen. If it's you going back to school, then okay, go back to school and go get it. If it's you sitting down with a mentor, okay, cool. Go seek out that mentor and sit down with that individual person, because if that person is a part of the appropriate parts, then you need to do the appropriate thing and go and get that tool, or go and to get that assistance that you need in order for you to have all of the appropriate and necessary parts. If completing this task, or completing and you trying to get healing, if the appropriate part is for you to go out and seek help and to get a professional for you to talk with, then that's a part of your necessary and appropriate parts. Like, if I ever want to be whole again, then I need to go and sit with someone that can assist me to flesh out my thoughts so I can understand what whole actually means to me. But that's understanding that you don't have all the appropriate parts, but you're going out to get it. You're going out to learn what those parts mean to you, and then you're making it happen. All right, so the next definition, then we're going to go into the deep dive. This definition says that transitive to finish something by adding the parts that are missing. And what I wanted to, I love this definition. And I'm going to show you why I like this definition. So the inversion of this definition says, well, the inversion I want you to pay attention to is white over red, which is transitive to finish. That's it. That's a powerful statement within itself. Transitive to finish. That means something has to be transformed in order to finish it. The way that you think has to be transformed. The way that you process your thoughts has to be transformed. The way that you see it has to be transformed. Your level of belief has to be transformed. Your level of resiliency has to be transformed. Your level of acknowledgement has to be transformed if you're ever going to get to the part to where it's now finished. Completion or complete is a transitive word, because it can allow you to go out and do it again because you have already understood how to complete the task. You've had the appropriate and the required amount of ingredients in order for you to do it again. A transitive to finish. I'm looking at, like, the word complete is the cousin to finish. Like, I mean, that's how I'm seeing it now. Like to complete something is the cousin to finish. Like, where are you at right now in your process of thought and the things that you know that you want to do? Like, have you transcend those thoughts to where you say, okay, if I'm going to finish this, let me write out what I need to do in order to ensure that I have the tools to complete it? That is a thought that only you can really begin to flesh out. Now, you can go and get recommendations from other people, or sit down in classes and get more tools that you can add to your toolbox, but you are the mechanic that it can only fix what you need to be fixed. You can go get those tools, but it's going to take you to figure out what tool to use, what process to take in order for you to accomplish it, what size. Look at it this way. Like, imagine this. So I did my daughter's. I changed her spark plugs this week. Well, this past weekend, and I went and I got a spark plug. What do you call it? Socket. I'm thinking I got the correct spark plug socket because I'm seeing spark plug. I picked up the socket, I purchased it, and then I head back home. Then I'm thinking I'm getting all of the tools that is going to allow me to go ahead and change these spark plugs. But I got the wrong tool. Like I pulled a 5/8 socket, but I didn't look at or pay attention to it. I needed a 1/4 inch socket that's going to fit on the wrench that I can begin to take out the spark plug. But I thought I had the right tool, but I didn't pay attention to the tool. But when I found out that there was something else that I needed to have in order for me to complete it, I had to have that transitive to finish, but I had to translate like, okay, this is not the right tool. I need to get the right tool in order for me to complete this task. So why did I tell you that? It's okay when you figure out that that's not the right tool because you still have time to go get it. You still have time to still complete it. It's not going to happen always on the first try. Go back and find those tools that's going to measure up to what you need in order to complete it. So I had to get the right socket in order to complete it. Just like it's okay for you to go and get the proper education or proper alignment for you to align with someone who has the tools that you can use to go and get it. So now let's get ready to go into this deep dive, and I want you to pay attention to something. Um, there's power in completion. Like for real, there is true power in completion. Like you start to feel good when you complete a task. Like, man, it took me 9 hours to do this, but when I figured it out, the 9 hours were now worth it. Now it sucked. I hate every minute of the 9 hours, but at the end of the 9 hours, when you figured out that you completed that task, it makes you feel good. It allows you to tell yourself that I can go out and I can do something else because I've learned how to complete this task. Because what have you worked on this week that you finally figured out how to do it? That gives you the power to prepare yourself for the next task at hand because the power to complete lies within the fabric of our own determination of the human spirit. Like, think about that because it's the tangible byproduct of our thinking while defying all odds that transcends us past our own limitation. I mean, for real, because it's like it's how we manifest our thoughts that transform our dreams into reality. Like, where are you at right now in your thoughts? Where are you at right now with your desires? Because the power to complete, also is how we begin to paint the world that we live in with those undeniable colors of accomplishment. Like when you complete something, everything around you looks bright because it hits like that aha moment. Like, man, I finally figured it out. And now you have this new vibrant energy that is about you, and people are like, oh man, like what are you happy about? Like, man, I finished. Like when you're taking a class or you're going to school, and like when you finish, that sense of accomplishments makes everything look bright around you. Because that complete thing then becomes the testament to the limitless potential that you actually have, and it begins to ignite that relentless pursuit to go out and find something else that you can complete. Because it puts you on the path of completion. Because being on the path of completion, it often sometimes really begin to push you past your own man-made obstacles and setbacks. But these trials will only turn into our triumphs. But it has to begin to serve and strengthen our determination and our commitment to our thoughts. Like, are you committed to the things that you're thinking about? If not, like I said yesterday, if not, you have a bunch of beautiful ideas that you haven't completed. But when we look at these challenges as opportunities for growth and learning, we can really begin to develop a level of resilience that is required to navigate and enhance these new capabilities that we never really looked at that we had before. I mean, because you've always had it. Like, think about it, because to complete is an innate ability that resides in each one of us. Every one of us has it. But it's waiting for you to release it. It's waiting for you to unleash it. But in order to pull this power out of us, we have to learn how to cultivate a mindset of determination, self-belief, and discipline. Because it's not always going to be easy, just as well as not always going to be hard. But that's where that commitment comes in. That's where that determination comes in. But it's okay to learn how to complete it. I hate this camera. Nah, I'm just playing. Let me change the focus for y'all. Come on, cameraman. It's okay. It'll come in. But hey, today's Friday, and this level of completion that you've had this week, acknowledge it and duplicate it. And figure out the things that you have accomplished is well worth it in the end. Transcend those accomplishments into the very next task or the very next thing that you want to do. Because if you've done it before, you can figure out how to do it again. If you are a results driven person and you have accomplishments that you have completed, then you take the results that you've done and the other things that you have completed and pour that into what you want to do and make it happen for you. All right. All right. Too easy. All right. It's Friday. Y'all have a great and beautiful weekend and just be blessed. And I'll see you here Monday on Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. Monday here at 7:30. Be blessed. Peace.